What's going on, folks? Today we're going to be taking a look at the NECA quarter scale Jungle Hunter Predator figure. So starting things off, we'll take a look at the box, and it is a fairly large box because it is the quarter scale figure. You can see up at the top right, it says featuring LED lights. Down here, you get a half frontal image of the figure. Down here, you have the Predator logo, and it says Special Edition Jungle Hunter. Now, I don't know what constitutes Special Edition for this figure. I know there were 2 or 3 other versions released, one without the mask, open jaw, and one without the mask, closed jaw. This one that we are going to be doing in this review is the masked version. Here you have a continuation of the figure. On the side, on the back, the Predator logo with a beautiful image of the Predator figure, and it looks like he's transitioning into his cloaking look. Down here you have a brief write-up of the figure and some of the other figures that you can get that were released in this series, so if you want to pause the video you can certainly read that. And on the side we have another image of the Predator with some of the features of the figure. And up at the top, we just have the Predator logo. So let's take a look at the actual figure. Okay, so here is the Jungle Hunter in all of his glory. Let's first take a look up top at the mask. Very cool. You can see his shoulder plasma launcher, which is articulated. It's a little loose. Luckily, I am able to fiddle with it and get it in a position where it does stay up. But if you are moving around the figure, sometimes that tends to droop down. I think it does have 2 points of articulation, so it can turn back and forth and hinge front to back. This whole shoulder piece comes separately. It's a little difficult to get on. There's 2 points in which it gets onto the figure. Right up here you can see a little gap, and on the back there's some keyholes that just kind of slides right on there. I find it better to get this portion on first and then get that piece to kind of slide on top. But as we're looking at it, you can see the paint job is very nice with its silvers, with kind of like a black wash over it. Let's take a look at his shoulder armor and all the little intricacies that come included with the technology. There's some piping in there. I would just be careful with this one, and especially this one, because if you are articulating the elbow, you don't want to break that off because it is made of a softer plastic, so I would just be aware of that. Take a look at some of the skulls and whatnot from various little kills. I don't even know what these would be. Nothing from our planet. Or maybe they are. Who knows, because we don't know how long the Jungle Hunter has been on our planet. We assume it's not long because you see him crash land onto Earth at the very beginning of the film. See his necklace here. They are on a little, I think it's like a plastic rope, so I would just be careful with that as well, but you can adjust them. What is really nice and always appreciated with the Predator figures is the netting that he wears around his body is actual netting. It's not painted on. So that's always a plus with the Predators, because on the smaller scale ones, they do the paint of the netting. And sometimes it looks good, sometimes it doesn't. So I always appreciate the actual netting. Let's take a look at his gauntlet with the blades. These are retracted currently, but they do extend. And they extend out pretty far. You could see that. He does come with an alternate hand, or a couple alternate hands. However, I do not have them with me currently, unfortunately. I do have to dig those out somewhere. But they're just open and closed hands. And speaking of the hands, the detail is very nice on them. Of course, the wrist joint is articulated, but the long nails and the glove-like material on them is very well done by NECA. The quarter scale figures by NECA, they come out, I find, so much better than the 7-inch scales, just because they have a larger canvas to work with in terms of getting all the necessary detail in there. Down on the legs, we do have the armor plating on the thighs. His loincloth, or whatever you would call that, is made out of a softer plastic. So when you are manipulating the figure, he has a greater chance for range of motion at the hips. The actual netting material continues down into the legs. Something I do notice, though, is that this is just a swivel joint, or I don't know what you would call that, at the hips, unlike the ball and socket ratchet joint that we get with some of the other figures. And I find this to be better because, like I've stated in some of my previous videos, I did have the City Hunter, or I do have the City Hunter, and his hips were of that ratchet joint type, and I was moving it and it snapped right off. Looking down at the knees here and some of the shin guards, we also get that very nice silver material. You can see all the little abnormalities in the plastic that would look like wearing. And down here, taking a look at the feet. Excellent detail continuing down onto the feet as well, just like the hands. NECA has done some great work with the paint job, the little speckles and the glossy look to all of the skin, making it look wet, sweaty, what have you. This gauntlet that consists of the bomb does open. Let's see if I can get that to open there. And we have some nice detail, some of the technology in the alien text. I wish this was a little brighter in red, just to stand out a little more. Nothing on the top here. It's just a blank canvas, but it still looks good nonetheless. This closes, and we can see some more of the detail on the top there. Around the elbows, I do notice we have this ribbon-like material. I don't remember seeing that in the movie. I'm sure it was there, you know, because why else would NECA do that? But it is a nice touch. You have that on this one as well. The dreadlocks look nice with the gold clasps attached to them. These are softer plastic, so you can move them like so. It does kind of hinder the head and neck articulation. And speaking of the head, there is an LED feature included in this figure. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to show you because of the time of day, the lighting in here, and because I don't keep batteries in this figure. But I will remove the helmet so we can get a look at that. So the helmet does pop right off, and you can see 3 key points where these pegs that are on the helmet insert into, and you can see the battery pack on the inside. I forget what type of batteries this takes, but you have to get a little Phillips head screwdriver and unscrew that one screw there and insert the batteries. You can see some of the wiring hanging off the left side of the helmet, and the 3-point lasering system, which is the actual point in which the LED feature comes through. Now, to activate that LED feature, this, where those tubes come out, presses in. This is an actual button. Okay, so very simple, on and off, but it's really cool that NECA included this with the figure. Like all of my other NECA quarter scale figures, I do have them standing, supported by a Kaiser doll stand, or Kaiser figure stand as I like to call them. which really helps with the larger figures because they do tend to be top heavy and they can fall over very easily. So you just want to make sure that if you want, you do have the option to pick some of these up. I got them on Amazon. They come in like 3 or 5 packs or what have you. So always a plus with those. And overall, this is a great figure. I really enjoy it. I do have the quarter scale Dutch Schaefer, as you saw in a previous review of mine. So it looks very cool to have them side by side. Anyways, guys, that is my review of the NECA quarter scale Jungle Hunter Predator figure. Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll see you on the next one.